Jackson Radio Show.
I saw this story, and I wasn't sure if they were casting of Misfits for Revenge of the Nerds or if they were casting for Cocoon. But holy mother of Methuselah, the Democrats are the party of rich, old, out-of-touch white people, if there ever was one. Did you see the top list of candidates, Democrat candidates for 2020? Oh, wow. For those of you who don't know who Methuselah is, he's the oldest man that ever lived. And I think the Democrats are trying to get somebody to outlive him. Have you looked at these people? We just had the sexual harassment charges against Conyers. He's 87, almost 88 years old, and he's still harassing women. I mean, look at these people. It's amazing. In the last election cycle, the Republicans had 17 candidates. Most of them were stellar. Now, on the other hand, in the Democrats' rigged election cycle, they offered no viable candidates, and only 2 emerged from the pack of roughly 5? So pressed, I doubt the average American could name even one other Democrat who ran outside of crooked Hillary Clinton or sellout Sanders. Can you? If you're really in tune, you might go Martin O'Malley. But beyond that, you'd go, wait a minute, what's that guy? I can see his face. Yeah, I can see his face. We don't even know. Unbelievable. So in the next election cycle, they're predicting that the Democrats are going to have as many as 30 candidates. 30. Now, we had ridiculed their choices because one, there was a story about Maxine Waters was going to potentially run. And Waters got asked at she was in New Hampshire, and they asked if she was there to test the water for a run against President Trump in 2020. And she said, laughing, "I'm not running for anything but my own seat. I don't have any presidential aspirations. If the millennials want me to do it, I'd do it, though." So only if the young people want her to run. It's so funny for me to believe that Maxine Waters believes that young white kids would actually ask her to run only if they thought she was James Brown. Get on the hi, yeah. Are you kidding me? Maxine Waters running for president? I love her optimism. Apparently, Democrats think they'll live forever too. How old is Maxine Waters? She's close to 80. So we're talking about 3 years away. She'd be 83. And you know what? Good drugs will do it, I guess. Yeah, you know what? Here it is. In 2020, Waters will be 82 years old. Now, considering her obvious dementia of being a Democrat, and there are other signs, things aren't going to be any better when she enters octogenaria. Unbelievable, boy. You know, laughably, 82 may be the median age for viable candidates in the Democratic Party, though. I mean, I'm chuckling at this, but the notion is very real that they could have 4 people in their 80s, maybe more, vying for president. And after decades of abuse of the American public, the truth of the matter is the Democrats don't have a farm team. You know, who wants to take on the mantle of beating down a country? The left doesn't seem to trust their youth to carry the torch. And who could blame them? Have you seen their youth? The Utes? The Occupy Wall Street crowd? Would you want any of them to be president? Or, I don't know. Who's the leader? Would you want to vote for D. Ray McKesson of the Black Lives Matter movement? You know, he ran for office in, was it Baltimore? Got less than 1.6% of the vote. Wow. And the Democrats were touting him. Does that tell you much about that group, the Black Lives Matter folks? But what if they decide they want to run a black candidate? They've got Cory Booker. And that's it. I know people think Kamala Harris is black. She's not black. She's half Italian and half Indian. Yeah, she's not black. So what about Oprah Winfrey? She's a billionaire. She's a woman. and she's black. And remember, there was a while back she was touted. It was in response to Donald Trump's so-called populism, the fact that the Democrats' political bench is older than Moses' toes. The Democrats were looking far and wide for a challenger to Donald Trump, and they couldn't find anyone young, popular, and qualified in the establishment. So they went outside the Beltway, straight to the world of weird, Hollyweird. And these Holly weirdos have egos the size of Alaska. They play politicians. Play a politician in search of a role or a sketch comedy, and bingo, why not run for president for comedy? I was going to get it out there. So, prompted by David Rubenstein, Oprah Winfrey speculated on a presidential run, a potential, and she theorized that since Trump didn't have any political experience, she was just disqualified. And if she doesn't want it, well, why not Al Franken? You guys probably don't even remember this. The left wanted Al Franken. They thought he was an up-and-comer. He was of good potential. This was back in February. They reached DEFCON 1 of desperation, touting a junior senator from Minnesota as a possible 2020 candidate against President Trump. Only a year ago, these Democrats trotted out their geriatric dream team, and even as recent as a couple of months ago, they were reloading the clip with Civil War relic bullets of Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren. And I asked, why didn't they just dig up Teddy Kennedy, KKK Robert Byrd, just for good measure? So months ago when I talked about this, little did I know that the candidates who would still be looking at as the top candidates are the same old retreads. The National Journal declared this: after years of the stunning spotlight in the Senate, Minnesota's junior senator is in the limelight and would be a formidable candidate for Democrats. Pick a name. How could you possibly be enthused about Al Franken? I'm talking about back in February of this year. And then we certainly know what's happened since then. Saturday Night Live in the late 70s, he played himself an idiot in Trading Places. And he remains an idiot. And now he's been exposed for what he is. What is the other reason the National Journal is touting this leftist moroniac? Al Franken isn't the punchline in the Senate anymore. He's emerged as one of the Democrats' most aggressive and effective questioners of President Trump's cabinet nominees. That's what did it. Now he's got street cred, right? And when I say he's got street cred, I'm telling you he's moved up a notch. He's sexually harassing women. That's certain to get him on the ticket, Bill Clinton. I mean, this is amazing to me. The number one candidate for the Democrats in 2020 is a sellout, independent, democratic socialist by the name of Bernie Sanders, who will be, 88 or something if he were to get the nomination? That's who's their number one guy. Pathetic.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.